The big billionaire bailout bill that Donald Trump has been pushing for such a long time has passed through the Senate. So first it went through the House and then it handed off to the Senate. And people, I assume that people were going, well, maybe after it goes through the Senate, it won't be quite so bad. It is literally worse than it was in the House. So in the House, the Congressional Budget Office was saying that it was going to kick off 9 to 10 million people off of Medicaid. Well, now it's 12 to 13 million people to be kicked off of Medicaid. Not to mention 700 plus rural hospitals closing because they need the funding from Medicaid. The food stamps cuts are higher than they were in the House. And the funding for places like ICE and the military have gone up. You know, the military budget is $1.1 trillion, yada, yada. $300 billion for border and national security, $46 billion of which is for the border wall. I'm old enough to remember when Mexico was going to pay for it. Remember? Now we're spending $46 billion. $45 billion of that $350 billion is going to be to house an extra 100,000 immigrant detainees. So if I do the math on that correctly, that's $450,000 per bed. We're spending $450,000 per bed per immigrant. Either somebody's math ain't mathing or somebody's getting paid a fuck ton of money. Meanwhile, Donald Trump is going down to Florida to try to get more prison space for more immigrants in the alligator Alcatraz. And let's not forget, in that border surplus that they're getting, they're going to be hiring 10,000 more ICE agents. So ICE, as bad as they are, and all the videos that we've seen of all of their fuckery and their just horribleness, and their jackbooted thugs with face masks on, now they're getting 10,000 more of those, and they're getting $10,000 signing bonuses each. So they'll be able to buy all the brown shirts that they can afford. It is absolutely still crazy in LA. It's still crazy here in New York, and it's crazy all over the country when it comes to ICE. And that is where the funding is going. And let's not forget the $4.5 trillion tax cut that is going to the wealthiest. So if you are in the top 10, top 1%, you're going to get some tax cuts. Everybody else is going to pay more. That's just it. Everybody else is going to pay more. So if you're in middle class, if you're in lower class, even if you're in upper middle class or in the top 80%, you're still going to be paying more in taxes. And all of these tax cuts are now going to be permanent. You know, the last tax cuts he did in 2017, Donald Trump did, those sunset at the end of this year. And he is reinstituting those, pretending like that's the flat line, and then we're adding an extra 4.5 trillion on top of that. So it was 2 trillion then, 4.5 trillion dollars now. We're giving unbelievable sums of money to people who do not need it, and have over the years proven that they don't take that tax money and create revenue. They put it in their pocket. They buy back their stock, increasing their stock value. This whole Laffer curve idea, which, by the way, Besant said last week, somebody asked him, he's like, when has trickle-down economics worked? Even George H.W. Bush called it voodoo economics. But you know, Laffer under Reagan drew on a napkin this thing, the Laffer curve. So if you cut taxes for rich people, they will take that tax money and put it back in their business and hire more people and make more money, therefore making more revenue. That was a zombie lie back in the 80s when it first started. And then they tried it again under George W. Bush, and it didn't work. We ended up with another economic crash. We had a crash at the end of Reagan's term. We had a crash at the end of W's term. And we had an economic crash at the end of Donald Trump's term. Every time they try to do trickle-down economics, it does not work. It is an epic fucking failure. And there's a book out there called What's the Matter with Kansas? You should check it out, because Kansas tried to do this on their own and cut taxes for all the wealthy people that live there. And within 2 years, their economy completely collapsed and they had to re-raise taxes. And they still haven't recovered from that. So the Laffer curve, trickle-down economics is absolutely bullshit. But yet again, we're doing this same fucking thing again. I feel like I'm beating my head against the wall. Anyway, so it is passed through the Senate. It's going to go back to the House, and the House is going to make some changes and what have you. And the whole idea is to try to get this done before the 4th of July so everybody in Congress can go on their little summer break and, you know, go get some fun in the sun, and everybody else is going to be sucking on this fucking bitter pill. Thank you very much, Mike Johnson, and all the rest of you. Oh, by the way, Josh Hawley going, oh my God, I'm a Republican populist. I can't believe that they're doing this. I'm going to have a real hard time for voting for this. He didn't have a hard time. He fucking voted for it. Yet again, another one of these people that go, I have some concerns about this bill, and then immediately turn around and fucking vote for it. There's only two people that in the Republican Party in the Senate that voted against this. One of them was Rand Paul, and the other one was Tom Tillis. And as soon as he voted against it, he literally was going to retire on the spot. But some people are like, don't retire. We'll make sure that nobody kills you. None of, no MAGA chud, who's armed to the teeth will come out and kill you. We'll get you some extra security. But he is not going to run again, because he knows going against Trump, which, by the way, it blows my mind. It takes you retiring before you can actually tell the truth about Donald Trump and how awful these bills are. You will not stand up to him while you're in office, but as soon as you're about to retire, then you can tell the truth. It should tell you everything you need to know about these sons of bitches. Really, seriously. Anyway, we've got Harry Ensign here, very energetic New Yorker who's run the numbers on the popularity of this billionaire bailout bill.
Feel about the big, beautiful bill.
Yeah, if we're talking about adjectives, how about they think it's awful, they think it's horrible, and to quote our colleague Charles Barkley, terrible, terrible, terrible. What are we talking about here? Well, let's take a look at the net favorable rating on the big, beautiful bill. I don't just got one poll for you, Omar. I got 5 of them, and the net favorable rating, minus 19 points, Washington Post, minus 20 points, Pew Research Center, Fox, minus 21, Quinnipiac University, minus 26, KFF, minus 29.
That's a Fox poll. That's a Fox poll. That's nothing but just Fox News grandpas, old school Republicans. They are underwater 21%. That means it has what, a 39% approval rating? That's a Republican poll.
You don't have to be a mathematical genius to know that when the net favorable rating of your bill is somewhere between minus 19 and minus 29 points, that it is not a positive bill as viewed by the American public. The American public at this particular point hate the big, beautiful bill. As far as they're concerned, it's not a big, beautiful bill. It's a big, bad bill.
I always appreciate.
No, that wasn't very interesting. I like mine better. Big billionaire bailout. Work that one into your lexicon there, Harry.
When you hold back, Harry.
I know,
look,
I try.
As people have learned more about the bill, I mean, obviously we're still in these stages working out individual pieces, and we'll see where this ends up. But as people have learned about it, has that popularity changed at all once they get more details?
No, Omar. We have Quinnipiac University. They hated it in early June when the net favorable rating was minus 26 points. And look at where we are in late June. It's the same, minus 26 points. The more they learn about this bill, they hate it just as much. I've been going through the historical books and trying to find a piece of legislation that looks more likely than not to pass, and seeing if there is one as unpopular as the big, beautiful bill. And the bottom line is, Omar, I can't find one. This one is in the history books, and for all of the wrong reasons as far as the American public is concerned.
So why is this bill so unpopular?
Why is this bill so unpopular? Well, I think Republicans would argue that this bill is supposed to help out the American people and their family. But the American people disagree with that idea. All right, Trump's policies and your family, help or hurt? The big, beautiful bill, just 23% say help. How about 49%? 49% say hurt. Look, that's a 26-point difference in the direction of hurt. Compare that to Trump's first-term agenda, where the plurality said it helped their family at 44% compared to 31% who said hurt.
Probably because they realized now that back then they were giving him a little bit more credit because it was his first term, and then they realized the repercussions of giving $2 trillion worth of tax cuts to rich people, and it did not work out so well for him. So I think this time around they're like, yeah, man, he's doing it again, except it's twice as bad.
So the American people elected Trump to help them and their families, but they see the big, beautiful bill as one that, on the whole, hurts their families.
All right. Helpful perspective as we work through the individual details.
Anyway, this is this is a Republican representative from upstate New York, and that's right, folks. There are Republicans in New York. Most of the Democrats live down here in the city, and all upstate, you go outside of the city maybe 30 minutes, and it's frickin' Alabama. I'm just saying. But Claudia Tenney is being asked about the Medicare cuts, which I've already illustrated are going to be wretched. Millions and millions of people are going to lose it. And she's got a really interesting idea of how many New Yorkers are on Medicaid that don't deserve to be on it.
Certainty. They're not going to invest in capital. They're not going to add new jobs. They're not going to have the growth that we need, and that's why it's so important. And another part of this Medicaid that is, I'm just tired of hearing about the Democrats screaming that people are going to lose their health care. I've said this over and over. There are about 19 million people in the state of New York. 8 million are receiving Medicaid. About 5 million of those 8 million are actually eligible.
So she's saying that 8 million people on Medicaid, out of those 8 million, 5 million deserve to be on it, and 3 million are scammers. So just in the state of New York, 3 million people living in just this state are scamming the system. And you represent this state. God, man, I think she represents like the Finger Lakes area of upstate New York. Woman, Jesus Christ, you have got an interesting idea. I mean, that's some serious math ain't math and bullshit right there. 3 million people in the state of New York alone are scamming the system, much less all the other 49 states. God damn, man. It blows my mind. Here is Treasury Secretary Besant, however he wants to pronounce it. He's being asked about the bill, and also that he's also asked about Elon Musk and his arguments with Donald Trump. Keep in mind, Elon Musk is not against the bill because it's going to screw the average working person. He's mad because it doesn't cut enough. You know, like Thomas Massey, who was against the bill. He's not against the bill because it's cutting Medicare for poor people. Or it's cutting food stamps for poor people. He's mad that it's not cutting enough. So anyway, Besant, this guy, oh, Lord have mercy, this guy.
A rant about what it's going to do to Medicaid, how many millions of people will be kicked off. What's your answer to the Republican?
Look, I like Senator Tillis, he's in my neighboring state, North Carolina, but I'm going to have to respectfully disagree with him. We want to make Medicaid available to mothers and children and those who need it. There are lots of able-bodied people who have taken advantage of the system. We're going to put in a work requirement, and we're just trying to get...
I've said it before, I'll say it again. 2/3 of the people who are on Medicaid right now are working. They are working. They're just poor. The other 1/3 are either invalid, taking care of an invalid, or are in long-term health care and they're poor and they can't afford it. Medicare, the thing that you get when you retire, does not cover long-term care. Medicaid does. So when you cut Medicaid, you are cutting long-term care from people who absolutely have to have it. It's not a work requirement. Let's just get that straight. It's not a work requirement. It's a paperwork requirement. Some of these people have to fill out paperwork every month to prove that they are still eligible. When you hear Republicans always talk about how Democrats are all about the bureaucracy, this is literally adding bureaucracy in the middle between you and your doctor. Here, sign this, fill this out, fill out this form. And when you're thinking about some 70, 80-year-old woman, or 50, 60-year-old woman on long-term health care, and you're asking her, once every couple of weeks to go online to re-verify, to fill out more forms and paperwork and convert PDF files into, other kinds of files to be able to put this in, or the website crashes and I couldn't get through that day. You are doing everything you can to make sure that they're like, fuck it, I quit. I can't do this. I'm not going to get my health care. I just cannot circumnavigate all the bureaucracy that has been put in front of me. And when I hear small business owners screaming and yelling about, oh, Democrats are always trying to put regulations and all this bureaucracy. Maybe that's the case. I'm not saying that it is, but maybe that's the case. But now you're talking about bureaucratic shit, for your small business. This is bureaucratic shit about your fucking health and your life. You want these people to, not go to the doctor until it gets so bad that now they can't go to the doctor, they have to go to an emergency room. And Republican states are voting against their own best interests. Small rural hospitals are going to close. Now you're going to have to travel 1 to 2 hours to the next closest hospital. And now you're going to be standing in line with all the other people that had their hospitals closed. And on top of all the people who have put off their health care because they don't have health care and put it off until the last minute. And now they have to go to the emergency room. Now, it's not going to be that you're kicking these people off and then things are going to be better. No, man, you're now putting yourself in their boat. Now you're going to be going to the emergency room. Now you're going to be sharing that space. Now you're going to be standing in line for hours and hours so you can get to see a doctor. You're doing this to yourselves. By voting for this, you're doing this to yourselves. And these Republican representatives, God damn, they should be fucking ashamed of themselves.
The levels back to where we were pre-COVID, which I don't think anybody disagrees with.
Elon Musk says this. It's obvious with this insane spending bill, increases the debt ceiling by $5 trillion. We live in a one-party country, the Porky Pig Party. Time for a new political party that actually cares about the people. And he's probably going to start one if this passes. What's your reaction?
Oh, he's going to start a party. Good luck with that. Mr. Cool, Elon Musk, the Porky Pig Party. Oh my God, man. I've never seen anybody try so hard to get people to like him. Dude, you suck. You are not funny. You are not popular. You're just a rich asshole that probably needs to... You need to get the fuck out of here. At the very least, we should cut your subsidies. Which, by the way, Donald Trump has got something to say about that. Here he is. By the way... Dude, you did a Tesla commercial at the White House. You did a Tesla commercial at the fucking White House.
A recent fallout between US President Donald Trump and Elon Musk took another turn Tuesday. Trump suggested the government...
Look at that. Elon Musk knew long before he's very strongly endorsed me for president that I was strongly against the EV mandate. It's not an EV mandate. It's a subsidy. So if a EV car costs $60,000, you get like a subsidy rebate for your purchasing power of like, what is it? I think it was like $7,000. So you get to buy a $60,000 EV for $53,000, which, by the way, is still too much fucking money. As far as I'm concerned, we should be making EVs. They cost about 20 grand, 25 grand tops. It is ridiculous and was always a major part of my campaign. Electric cars are fine, but not everyone should be forced to own one. No, dude. Nobody is forcing. It's not a mandate that you have to buy an electric car. What he's thinking about is California saying in like 2030, we're not going to be allowing any new sales in the state of California of gas-powered cars. Now, I don't know if that's going to actually be a thing or not, but California is always doing stuff like that. But that's in the state of California. That is not a nationwide thing. And it was never mandated that you have to buy. I mean, though, even in California, those people don't have to buy electric cars. They can just, and if they really wanted to, they could drive to fucking Nevada or Oregon or Arizona and buy a car and then drive it back if they wanted to. You know, and they're not going to have to get rid of their gasoline cars that they actually own right now. I mean, all of this shit is just ridiculous, but his idea that it's a mandate and people are forcing you to buy an electric car. Nobody is forcing you to buy a fucking electric car, you dipshit. Elon may get more subsidies than any human in history. That is true. By far. And without subsidies, Elon would probably have to close up shop and head back home to South Africa. That sounds like a threat. No more rocket launches, satellites, or electric car production, and our country would save a fortune. Perhaps we should have Doge take a hard look. Look, hun, I don't like either one of these people. I think that they're both horrible and bad people. But between the two of them, I do get a kick out of Donald Trump smacking Elon Musk around.
Government Efficiency Department should take a look at the subsidies Musk's companies have received in order to save money. The comments come after the Tesla CEO renewed his criticism of Trump's sweeping tax cut and spending bill. He also vowed to unseat lawmakers who backed it after campaigning on limiting government spending.
By the way, you saw how he went and spent millions of dollars to try to overturn a Supreme Court seat in Wisconsin. He went out there, put the little cheese wheel on his head and made a complete ass out of himself. Well, it didn't really work out very well for him. So I don't know how big of a threat it is. Although, you know, this guy's got more money than God, and he could dump $10 to $20 million on any race he wants to, and it would have an effect in the Republican Party, without a doubt.
Musk wrote on X in response to Trump's Truth Social post, "I am literally saying cut it all now."
See what I'm saying? He's not worried that you're going to lose your health care or your food stamps or any of your social safety nets and what have you. He wants all of it cut. You know, he is a staunch, you know, just shrink government down to a size where I can drown it in the bathroom. Or, excuse me, shrink government down to a size where I can drown it in a bathtub. That's an old quote.
Now, Trump previously threatened to cut Musk's government subsidies and contracts when their relationship broke down last month over the bill. Non-partisan analysts have said it would add about $3 trillion to the US debt.
So yeah, man, when I hear Republicans out there saying over and over again, every time a Democrat is in office, oh my God, the debt, the deficit, the debt, the deficit. Oh my God, we're going to be passing this along to our children and their children's children. And oh my God. Meanwhile, Donald Trump raised the debt like $9 trillion in his first term, and he's scheduled to raise it up about $15 trillion this term. So I don't want to hear jack or shit about the fucking debt or the deficit if we actually have free and fair elections and a Democrat actually wins in 2026 and 2028. But, you know, that's a different story.
Musk's businesses include rocket company and government contractor SpaceX, which has about $22
rockets to
billion
nowhere
in federal contracts.
All of them crash.
His rift with Trump also caused volatility for Tesla. Shares of the electric car giant lost about $150 billion of its market
Such a
value
shame.
on June 5th.
It's all
though
computer.
It has since recovered. Tesla shares trading in Frankfurt tumbled 5% on Tuesday. On Saturday, Musk called the package utterly insane and destructive in a post on X.
Takes one to know one. Oh, God, it's fucking hilarious. Anyway, the big beautiful bill is not so beautiful. It's a bailout for billionaires yet again. It's wretched. It's horrible. And unfortunately, it's, in my estimation, it might, you know, when this video goes out tomorrow morning, it might very well be passed through the House and on its way to the president's desk to be signed. But on the outside, I think that if it's not if it doesn't happen on Wednesday, it will probably happen on Thursday, July 3rd, so they can get it all done for the big 4th of July and the big, huge, summer break for all of these hard-working Congress people. They work so hard. They deserve a big break, man. The sweat of their brow, man. And, I feel so bad for them that they have to be held here to pass this bill and work so devilishly hard to cut health care and to give rich people tax cuts. Because, if it wasn't for Mike Johnson and people, of his ilk and Donald Trump, what would rich people do? I mean, how many more islands are they not going to be able to buy? How many more lives are they not going to be able to take? How many more immigrants are they not going to be able to snatch up off the street V for Vendetta style? I mean, without this big, beautiful bill, how are they going to be able to do all the fuckery that they've been planning and so excited for? Anyway, it sucks, man. All of this fucking sucks. I'm sorry to keep delivering you bad news, but it doesn't look good. Anyway, they want to get this done before the holiday so they can leave, and it's always the best time to do it because everybody is already on vacation and nobody's really paying attention to this. So this is the best time to get it done, and Donald Trump knows that, and so does Mike Johnson. So I'm not saying I am absolutely sure that this is going to happen. I mean, somebody could say, hey, I don't want to do this, and maybe they don't get enough votes in the House, but I would not be holding my breath for that. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed what you saw, please like and subscribe. Keep rocking.